What's happening everyone, TomGorian here and welcome back to episode number 9 of the F123 Drive Career Mode, Haas to Glory. This is the series where I take Haas from a struggling midfield team and take him all the way to Constructors and Drivers World Championship Glory. Welcome to the second half of Season 1 for this Career Mode series, and we begin episode number 9 with contracts. It's officially time to talk about contract negotiations and to see if this team is worth staying for the remainder of season number 1. If you do enjoy this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more F123 Drive Career Mode and also F123 gameplay. So let's get started. So approach has been accepted and they're not really offering me anything as far as what I need. So this is what we are going to do. We're going to pretty much stay, but the one thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to take any risks as far as them not accepting me. So we're going to go for a medium risk contract, $2.22 million of contract with a $250,000 PEG fund total and $2 million and $2,000 of salary for the contract. So it is official, we are going to be staying for the remainder of the fair season. And I mean, come on, why wouldn't I stay with Haas? We've got a decent car under us right now. We just need to tweak it a little bit more with the chassis and just a couple of other things, but until then we've got a decent car on our hands, and at this point in time we're technically fighting for the World Championship. But we're coming off a very successful British Grand Prix episode, and as you can see, there is the vehicle performance comparison. We are literally the 5th best team, and we're only one major upgrade away from overtaking Aston Martin and really being at the end of the top 3 as far as performance. And as you can see, we're just going through some aerodynamic upgrades. There's that front wing gurney flap upgrade that I was talking about in the last video. That will get done in this video, and we're really close. If all of our upgrades go on this car, then chances are we're going to be literally in the top 3 as far as car performance, and that is a great start to this video. Literally the upgrades have came, but this is now an issue. A lot of fans have held you down as one of the favourites for this year's World Championship. Who do you consider to be your closest rival? Carlos Sainz or Lewis Hamilton? I mean, I don't really expect to be competing for the World Championship in my rookie season, but since Lewis Hamilton was the last rookie to compete for the Formula 1 World Championship, we're going to try and beat Lewis Hamilton in our very fair season of the Haas to Glory. So literally, as you can see, the roll dampers tyre wear upgrade has been finished, and now that unlocks the fuel tank positioning upgrade for weight redistribution. And as you can see, also another chassis upgrade has been done. Improved energy store cells. I believed that was the part that failed in the last video, but because of that, now we've literally got a lot more upgrades to literally develop and unlock. And now, because of our chassis, we're now literally in the midfield. We are the fifth best chassis on the grid, just behind Aston Martin, Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull, of course. So all of our upgrades are getting through onto the car, but the front wing upgrade failed. That's the drag reduction one. That was the most important one that we needed because of this track. That one has failed because we needed that for drag reduction, and now we're not going to get it until literally right after Spa, which we don't really need that upgrade for Zandvoort. We needed it for this circuit, and that is a massive blow. And as you can see, after all of the upgrades, we're literally right on Aston Martin and Ferrari for being tied for the 3rd best car, and that is a very disappointing way to cap off the timeline in towards this Belgian Grand Prix. If we had the drag reduction upgrade, we could have really used it, because chances are the AI are going to be really quick on this circuit. I keep messing up. What's going on here? I keep messing up with my words. Anyway, there's the performance history, or the progress history, and we're slowly starting to catch up again to the top 3 teams: Red Bull, McLaren Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and then Aston Martin. So my guess is that we are realistically probably 2 or 3 consecutive major upgrades away from having the best car. So let's get into qualifying, and surprisingly, this is a sprint weekend. So literally in F1 they are following the old sprint format where it's literally practice 1, qualifying for the race. Is it qualifying for the race? No, sprint practice 1, qualifying for the sprint race, practice 2, the sprint race, and then the main race, instead of the real life sprint format that they follow. But as you can see, we do a 1 minute 41.5 at Spa, and we are 3 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc. So I have a custom setup on, and as you can see, we are actually doing quite well for this session. And as you can see, obviously qualifying is confirmation that the sprint race weekend, it's going to be qualifying and FP2 in the rain, sprint race, and then the main race. But as you can see, look at the gaps between all of us here. You got what, me, Sainz, over 5 tenths. 5 tenths ahead of Carlos Sainz, over 6 tenths ahead of Max Verstappen, and 6.5 tenths ahead of George Russell. This is on 103 difficulty, by the way. So literally, we are now nearly entering 104, 105 territory, and I probably will be entering 104 or 105 AI at the beginning of next season. But we're going to literally try and get pole position for this sprint race, because if we get pole position, that's a good sign for the race itself. But literally, we are using a custom setup. We're running 16-12 wings, and as you can see, there's Lewis Hamilton. We are literally 2.5 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, and we are going to go out as we have one more lock. And as you can see, Hamilton quickest in sector 3, 28 flat, compared to us. We did a 28.3. Sainz did a 28.1. So it's not really enough to get pole position, but if there is one sector of the lap where the AI can gain the most time, it is in sector 3. So here we go, the final lap of this Belgian Grand Prix qualifying before the sprint race. This is not the end all be all, because if we have a bad qualifying, we can at least make something up in the sprint race, but we would like to get this this pole position. So entering La Source hairpin turn 1, we go slightly wide, and we don't get a good exit at all. And as you can see, we lose a lot of time on the exit of La Source, literally half a tenth as we go in towards Radion and up the hill in towards El Rouge, trying to hug the inside apex. And as we enter the Camel Straight, you'll notice that we're literally down by nearly a tenth. So it's not been a good start to this qualifying lap. Entering Les Combes, literally 4th gear, and we go slightly wide on the entry of Les Combes, and we don't really hug that inside curb. And as you can see, this has not been a good start to sector 1. We're literally down by nearly 1.5 tenths as we go down the hill in towards No Name, 5th gear. Well, I actually shift down to 4th because I was getting a lot of understeer for this lap. So coming in towards Blanchimont, literally 7th gear, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. We're literally down a tenth and a half, and we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to pull out a miracle if we want to get pole position here. But this is where the lap gets saved. Entering Lesbian 1, and as you can see, we've literally gained half a tenth. Lesbian 2, and we're now a tenth up on our lap because of our exit and our entry speed in towards the Lesbian corners. Now in towards Pouhon, I believe it's Pouhon, 8th gear flat out. And now all of our focus is on the bus stop chicane. We went slightly wide, literally on the previous lap, and the back end steps out just a little bit, but we want to get a good exit. Short shifting into 3rd gear, across the line, and we do get pole position for this race. That's a good start. Brilliant start.
The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Outside of the racing world, it has been used several times for the Tour de France.
So with that out of the way, it's now time for the sprint race. Obviously, it's the old sprint format, so I'm guessing it's the old points format as well. I don't know why they haven't really updated the sprint format for this year's game, but they're using the last year's format, which I've said literally before. So, look, we're on pole, and hopefully we don't get swallowed up by the two Ferraris, because in the last race, the two Ferraris had exceptional straight line speed, and we just couldn't keep up with them. So our expectation, as long as we score points, we should be alright for this sprint race. For 5 red lights here at Spa, and it is a long time. Lights out and away we go for the Belgium sprint race, not the Grand Prix, as we enter turn 1 in towards 5th gear, and we do retain the lead. Hamilton has jumped both Ferraris. That's actually very surprising that Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes has jumped both Ferraris as we enter Radion and Rouge, and we have a 4.5 tenth gap to Lewis Hamilton. But we do know that the Mercedes is very quick in a straight line, and we're going to try and use all of our battery and our ERS, and Hamilton is slightly closing in on us, considering the fact that we literally have a custom setup. We're running 12 wings. In the RFL League race that I was doing a couple of weeks ago, I was running 15.11, but because of this car's lack of downforce, we have to run 16.12 for this race. So lap 2 out of 8, it's only an 8 lap race, so it's literally a safety car restart, a standing safety car restart if I may add. Entering literally the Campbell Straight, and now the bus stop, and as you can see, this back end just steps out just a little bit down. I was having some trouble in La Source and also the bus stop, just with the back end just stepping out as we set literally the fast lap of a 1 minute 44.584. But now this is where the question really lies. How good is our straight line speed compared to the Mercedes with the DRS? And as you can see, Hamilton is pretty much following us as we enter Les Combes. And yeah, we're still in the lead, but more importantly, we're closing the gap. Well, no, we're extending the gap to Leclerc, Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz. But as you can see now, shit gets serious. Hamilton gets a godlike run on the exit, and now on towards this straight, the back straight. It's going to be side by side. It's me versus Lewis Hamilton, entering literally pull on corner, side by side. We go round the outside. Hamilton tries to stick it out, but he can't. There's nowhere to go. As we enter the bus stop chicane for the final time in this sprint race, we go slightly wide. We have to take a very cautious approach on the exit, and it is going to be officially pole position for the sprint race. That's very impressive. So not only have we taken pole position in the actual qualifying session, we've taken pole position in the sprint race. That's very interesting. Now, it's time for the race.
It's the Belgian Grand Prix, the site of the maiden victory of the Jordan team in 1998. The venue that Michael Schumacher made his debut in Formula One. There is so much history here amongst the beautiful nature. Run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Thomas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Ocon, Russell, Albon, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Magnussen, Sargent, Joe, Bottas, Norris, Tsunoda, and Nick de Vries. With lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
It's a very ominous feel at Spa, with the weather being overcast, and there's a Haas on pole position. This is not like the Brazilian Grand Prix that happened the season before. We are on pole, for the actual race, just like we've been on pole literally for the sprint race and we were in pole for qualifying. Now, there's a real chance that we could actually do something in this race. This setup I'm running, just pause the video if you want to take some inspiration. This is what I've learned from the time I've had with the game so far. As far as strategy is concerned, we're going to go literally 23.6, which is 1.6 laps of fuel. That should easily take us to the end. And as far as the strategy is concerned, we're going to be doing a one-stop from the mediums to the softs and not the hards, considering the fact that the Haas doesn't have good tyre wear, even with the performance patch. So we're just looking over and we are going to literally confirm that the mediums to soft strategy is the way to go. There is the tyre strategy for all of the AI. Most of them are on softs and 3 of them are on mediums. So let's see if I'm right or wrong.
Here we go then. The formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring their planned strategies are all in place.
Spa is one of my favourite circuits to drive on any F1 game. No matter what game it is, if it's F1 2010 or F1 23, it's still up there as far as one of my favourite circuits to drive. Just because of the flow of the circuit and just the corners, it just makes this circuit a wonderful, spectacular race track. And with this year's handling model and the physics, this track is even better. So we're on pole. We've taken sprint pole, the quali pole, and the race pole. Now let's see if we can get the race win for 5 red lights. Long hold, but lights out, and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. We do get a clean start as we enter turn 1, La Source, 3rd gear. We're going to cover off the slight inside, and we do take the lead going down the hill in towards Radion and Eau Rouge. We've got to watch out though for Lewis Hamilton. He's literally less than 3 tenths behind, so we need to get a good exit out of Eau Rouge. But as you can see, he is all over us, and maybe this is like Belgium 2018, because here comes Lewis Hamilton down the Kemmel Straight. This is going to be side by side between me and Lewis Hamilton entering Les Combes Chicane for the first time on heavy fuel. But we do retain the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, and now it's time to try and defend as Hamilton goes down the inside on the end of the first lap. But it's no use. As we end the first lap, we are literally ahead. And we are the only one out of, the 11 or 12 cars on the medium tyres. So we're going to be slow for the first couple of laps as the back end does step out in towards the bus stop. But I believe that as the race goes on, our strategy will pay off. And by the end of the race, we will have the tyre advantage compared to Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, and of course Verstappen. I think Verstappen is the driver we've got to watch out for in this race, considering that Red Bull is so quick. But as you can see, we are slowly but surely opening up the gap towards Lewis Hamilton and that Mercedes, 8 tenths of a second as we now cut to the bus stop chicane. Got to be very careful of the back end there, especially downshifting in towards 4th and 3rd. But because we get a clean run out of the exit, we gain 4 tenths, and now this is where the tyre wear really started to kick in. So Hamilton's lost 4 tenths, and now he's out of the DRS, and now on lap 9, Hamilton comes in for the pits to go on to the medium tyres. I thought every one of the soft tyres was going to go from softs to mediums, but it turns out I was wrong, because as you can see, Hamilton is on hards, and that is the main reason why he's lost this race. I don't understand why you would go on hards on this circuit. Maybe if you're going to go for a super undercut, but I mean, look, it's literally 12 laps. The mediums can do 12 laps around Spa, and as you can see, there's confirmation about all the tyre strategies. Hamilton is the only one that's gone on hards. Everyone else has gone on mediums, so everyone has done the opposite to us, while we're doing mediums to softs. And the only guys who haven't really pit is me, Lance Stroll, and Yuki Tsunoda, who are really doing the normal strategy, which is the mediums to the soft tyres. So lap 12, 10 laps to go of this Belgium Grand Prix. Our pit window was supposed to be lap 13, but we've decided to come in early to try and just minimalise the pain as far as the undercut is concerned, because I was looking at the MFD and we were projected to go literally 8th place in this race. So we're going to try and act now, and as you can see, both Red Bulls set the fast lap of the race, and as you can see, Verstappen, Leclerc take the lead. There's Hamilton. Hamilton's jumped us even on the hard tyres, and as you can see, Carlos Sainz is dead ass behind us. So now we are now in the race to the end. We've got 9 laps to try and catch and overtake Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen in an OP Red Bull for the win of this Belgium Grand Prix, and we're going to get to work immediately by overtaking Lewis Hamilton in towards the Campbell Straight. So we now have the tyre advantage. The only problem is we've got to make the weakest tyres last us the entire race. Now it's literally 10 laps now. 10 laps on one of the longest race circuits on the calendar, as we set the fast lap of a 142.522 as we enter literally La Source, and we're all over Charles Leclerc. As we go down the hill, we want to try and get a best exit as we can as we enter up the hill in towards Eau Rouge and onto the Campbell Straight. We do get a decent entry on towards the Campbell Straight, and now it's just a drag race between me and Leclerc. We're going to use Max Verstappen's slipstream to try and go and pass Charles Leclerc. We do make a bit of contact with Verstappen's diffuse and rear end, but we lose the back end, we correct it, and second place is ours. So now later on in the lap, Verstappen didn't have a good exit, and now we're so close, and we don't want him to be holding us up, because chances are if he holds us up, then that invites Leclerc, that invites Sainz, and that invites Hamilton back into the fold. So we're literally going to pass Max as soon as we can, and there we go on the exit of Blanchimont corner. Is it Blanchimont or Pouin? I think it's Pouin. I'm not really sure, but lap 17, and as you can see, the gap is extending to 2.1 seconds, and now all that matters is just for us to try and go to the end and to manage the tyre wear. And as you can see, there is the tyre wear, 61.58, 56.55, but the realisation is kicking in now. We have literally dominated this race with having the 4th best car. We've out-qualified Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz and Hamilton, and we've beaten them in both races. And as we come in towards bus stop, the realisation is starting to kick in now. We have won the Belgian Grand Prix, and we are actually competing for the World Championship.
That's a race win and your 2nd race win in a row. Fantastic job.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they've persevered to take the win here today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
There are many teams, as they come out onto the podium now, who could do what Haas have managed to accomplish here. It's hard to believe how competitive they've already become. Amazing victory.
It can't happen, can it? There's no way that we can try and compete for the World Championship as a rookie in our first season of the Haas to glory. There's no way. There's surely Ferrari and Red Bull, their cars are too quick for the upcoming circuits, but we have beaten them again. For the 3rd time this series, in 9 races, we've beaten Verstappen and Leclerc to the flag. And not only have we beaten them in a race distance, we've done it on a sprint weekend. So that's even more points in the bag, and plus we got the fastest lap. That's literally, what, 26, what, yeah, 34 points. 34 points. And as you can see, there is the championship. Perez, Verstappen, Leclerc, myself, I'm tied with Sainz, and Lewis Hamilton. They're literally 6 drivers competing for the World Championship in Season 1 of the Haas to Glory. But yet again, I say this, there's no way we could probably compete with Verstappen and Leclerc for the title in our first season? Knowing that we've literally gotten, what, 2 pole positions and won 3 races. It can't happen, can't it? We'll try to make it happen, at least. But that's that for episode 9 of the F123 Haas to Glory Drive Career Mode. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more F123 Career Mode content, online content, and just general F123 content. This series is starting to heat up in a big way, and it's going to continue to heat up as we enter the next race. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. In a bit.